Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a very chatty video. I have a little bit of time during Sean's nap now, and so I had told you guys on Instagram and here on YouTube, I want to answer some questions just pertaining to labor and delivery and postpartum life. Questions like that, specific to labor and postpartum, since I am almost 36 weeks pregnant and like things are about to like go down. Like I don't know how much longer baby girl's gonna be here. I don't know how much longer I'll be pregnant for. I'm really at the point now where I'm in the waiting game and she could come any minute, and I'll probably spend the next couple weeks just being like, oh, she's gonna come early, and then I'll offer her to just come late like my other kids did. But whatever, we're gonna answer some questions. So grab a coffee, grab some water, hydrate yourself, whatever, and chit chat with me. I know a lot of you guys are kind of due around this time. We have similar due dates, so maybe this gets you thinking about some of this stuff too. I'm just gonna go in random order. Hopefully some of this makes sense. So the first question says, what pain management do you use for labor and how much does it help? I have always, first of all, this is my fourth baby. This will be my fourth labor. All my other kids have been born vaginally. So as of right now, I'm planning on having a vaginal birth unless there's some kind of emergency C-section situation, which I pray doesn't happen, only because I've heard that the recovery can be a lot harder. And like, I don't need anything harder right now. I need things to be somewhat just like what I'm used to, what I'm familiar with. So I'm hoping that it'll be a vaginal birth. But with all of the other ones, I have always gotten the epidural. And I have always been very clear that I would not do it any different way. Like, I really applaud those of you guys who can deliver without any kind of medicine, like the home births, the birthing in a tub with zero medication. Like, I applaud you. I have zero pain tolerance. And the thought of that is just terrifying to me. And I'm sure that there's a lot of beauty in it. I'm sure that it would be really great. And I'm sure that I would survive, but I just have never chosen to do it that way. Epidural for me has always been something that I have very much welcomed, and it has helped a ton because I remember with Sean, like I had some really bad contractions all the way up until I got the epidural. And like by the time I was having those contractions, I was like, I'm going to die. Like I cannot make it anymore. Then I got the medication and then I was like, I could chill again. Not that it's like completely pain-free. Like there's still discomfort. There's still like, you gotta push, you get tired. Like there's still pain and discomfort involved, but not to the level of without the epidural. And for me too, like the actual process of getting it has never been really scary. I don't love needles. I don't love the idea of it. But you don't see the needle, number one, because they face you like opposite of the doctor. The anesthesiologist comes in and you're already like huddled, you know, like in a ball on the bed. So like it's not like you're watching them put this giant thing into you. But yeah, it helps big time. At least it has for me. Next question says, how much do you go back to normal down there each time? Scarring, cuts, then the healing process. I think it's varied in like all my different pregnancies. I think it was my first one that I had an episiotomy. Like they had to cut down there in order for the baby to come out. I can't remember which one it was. It was either Riley or Jackson, because I know it wasn't with Sean. That took a while to heal because like you basically like you can tear, or like in this case like they cut down there, so the healing was a lot harder. I think Sean was my easiest in terms of like healing, because at the 6-week check-in, like at my checkup, 6-week postpartum checkup, like they gave me the all clear and I was already like feeling normal down there. Joe and I were able to like be back to being intimate at 6 weeks, and I don't remember having like that pain or like being super scared in that department down there like I was with the other two. I think with the other two it took a little longer, but it kind of just depends on how your body, I guess, reacts and how your body does during labor. But it is scary for a little bit. Like it's even scary. I've shared multiple stories before. Like one of the scariest things after you deliver is that first postpartum poop. Dude, like I just have like vivid memories with Riley and with Jackson being like, I'm never gonna poop again. Like it's just never gonna happen again because it's so painful. But I'm here to tell you guys that you will poop again. That everything will heal and recover. It just takes some time, and so just be patient with yourself. For postpartum care down there, there's like a million things you can use. I've shared a bunch of the things that I've used in the past, like the perineal spray that I love. A lot of people swear by those like ice pad things that you do. You get the maxi pad and you like freeze them, and then you put them on there. I had a really bad experience with that. If you guys have been here that long that you remember that I basically told you guys that I did that one time and then I got like a brain freeze, but like down in my hoo-ah, like that was not fun. So I don't really recommend the whole like ice pad situation. Some people love it though, so whatever, to each their own. There are things that you can do to expedite the healing process. There's things that you can purchase. The sitz baths really help. That's something that I'll usually do. But I promise I will share as much of that postpartum life as I can when we get there. Do I have my hospital bag ready? I do not. That's actually something that I want to get to like this week, between this week and next week. Have it ready to go. I was just vlogging and I was telling you there's things that I'm ordering that I still have to get. I have to get all the disposable underwear. I want to get some more nursing stuff. I want to get another like easy to nurse in pajama. So there's things that I still want to put in my hospital bag that I don't have yet. So that's why I haven't filmed like a what's in my hospital bag video yet. I think I have pretty much everything I would need for the baby, just not for me. And Joe, forget it. Joe packs like 5 minutes before we have to leave. So he's not gonna be packing anytime soon. What's your plan for when it's time to go to the hospital, logistics and kids? Thankfully, we have Mimi and Papa down here. So it's just gonna be a matter of like, either Joe will be with me here or he'll be at work and I'll, you know, God willing, be able to call him and say, hey, I need you to come home. I think I need to go to the hospital. I'll have to get Mimi and Papa to watch the kids. So it's a matter of like me dropping off the kids at my mom's house or my mom coming here. Like, we'll have to figure that out. I've never had to like actually figure that out, which is kind of weird, right? Riley, I went into pretty much spontaneous labor. It was kind of like, hey, I was calling the doctor because my water, like I was leaking down there and I didn't know if my water had broken or not. So she was just kind of like, hey, just go to the hospital and we'll test you to see if your fluid, if it's your fluid or whatever. But I didn't have another kid at that time. So it was just me and Joe straight to the hospital. And then with Jackson and with Sean, both of those were inductions. I think with Jackson, it was like a scheduled date. And then like I had already left Riley with Mimi and Papa. With Sean, it was still an induction, but it was a like that day they said, hey, it's your day to be induced because they kept pushing me on the induction schedule. But I was at that point able to call Mimi. And I think if I remember correctly, I called her and she came here and she watched the kids, something like that. But point is, we have family here, so they will be watching all of the kids while Joe and I are in the hospital. The only downside to that is my mom can't be there in the hospital with me, but it gives me a lot more peace of mind, like knowing that she's taking care of the other kids and that they're in good hands. The only thing is that my parents are going, they're gonna go to the Keys, I think, for Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend, it's like 2 weeks away from my due date. So I told them like, plan on going, but there's a chance that I may ruin your vacation. There's a chance that I may call you and you're gonna have to like get over here really fast. So God willing, everything will be fine, but that's kind of the plan for now. This person said, second trimester next week here. As an anxious person, what's the hardest part of postpartum? There's a lot that is hard about postpartum. So not to make you more anxious, I'm so sorry, but there's a lot about postpartum life that it's just difficult. Like depending on your situation too, things can be more difficult, like how much support you have. Do you have 4 other kids that you're watching, or is this your first child? I think if it's your first child, things are easier in certain ways, right? Because you can just kind of focus on doing what you need to do and like worrying about you and the newborn. But at the same time, it's a brand new thing, so that can be very scary and overwhelming. Whereas when you have multiple kids, like you kind of already know what to do, but it's just like the managing of everything else that gets hard. For me, I think the hardest part has just always been the sleep deprivation. And it's like my child doesn't follow any schedule that I have ever read anywhere. And this book told me that most kids should be sleeping this many hours. And why is my child not sleeping? And like, when am I gonna ever sleep again? Like the not sleeping for me, mentally, that is very taxing. Plus, like in the very beginning, it's like you're trying to take care of the newborn, but you're also healing and recovering yourself. So it's like you're trying to take care of another child, another person, but you also have to take care of yourself, because if not, you can't take care of the other person. So that gets kind of challenging depending on how bad of a recovery you're having. Like if it's really painful for you to just like stand and walk, it's like, how are you supposed to stand and walk and also like take care of the baby? So that can be a little bit difficult. And I think for me too, like something that was hard for me this past pregnancy, like with Sean, when I brought Sean home, I was very much wanting for things to just be back to normal, be able to spend time with the big kids and just like continue our life as if nothing happened. Like, here's a new baby, but like whatever, like we're just gonna keep going with it, which I know to a certain extent you have to do. Like you gotta just keep on going. But I don't think I allowed myself enough time to just like rest and be in a newborn bubble and just like be in bed and let other people take care of me. Like that's something that I'm trying to prioritize this time around. Whether I will succeed in it or not, I have no idea. Maybe I will not, but I'm trying to give myself more grace and be like, okay, there's other people here that can help support me. Joe will, God willing, be home. My mom will, God willing, be able to be here and to help out too. So like, let's let them do some of the other stuff and let me just worry about the baby. Like, let me just worry about feeding the baby and, you know, sleeping when the baby is sleeping and doing that kind of thing. So what is the actual hardest thing? I'm not sure. It just kind of depends. But I will tell you that I have never regretted it. And I'm here doing it the 4th time. I would do it again because it's just the greatest joy. And like, these babies are such a gift. And so as hard as it is, remember that you will get through it. You'll get through the hard season. You'll get through those tough sleepless nights. Like, I'm gonna go back and watch this when I'm like 4 months postpartum and the baby's going through like that 4-month sleep regression. Like, you'll get through it. Like, these past weeks here in my life, or the past couple months, I've been sleeping just fine. Like, I go to bed at 10, 11 o'clock. I sleep till like almost 7:30, 8 the next morning. I thought that that would never happen again. Like, when I was in the thick of it, I was like, I am never gonna sleep again. You do. Like, eventually you do. Eventually the kids grow and everything's gonna be okay. What kind of prep do you do for labor? Mindset focus, prayers, exercises. I don't really do like mindset focus. I don't really know exactly what that is, or like, I think there's some, wasn't there for a while, like people would do those, what do you call them? They were like affirmations, maybe like pregnancy affirmations, like where you would focus on sentences or things like, I am powerful, I am brave, or I can get through this. Like, there were things like phrases that you would like try to remember throughout, like when you're pushing in your birth. I think for me, I would prefer to like focus on like Bible verses associated with that. So I could see some people doing that, like pushing and being like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like, there will probably be a bit of that. But other than that, there's really no prep that I do. Maybe I should, I'm just not, like, that's just not where I am at, like mentally or physically. I have a friend who like swears by doing a lot of like the bouncy ball, like just like being on the bouncy ball for like the last couple weeks of pregnancy. Maybe at some point I'll get there where I'm like, okay, I need to get this baby out of me, let me bounce on the ball. I haven't done really anything in particular. I will be obviously praying throughout labor. I think last time with Sean, I was so desperate to get him out of me that I did do like some of those date smoothies, which were actually very good, very delicious. I cannot eat dates on their own, but like in a smoothie, they were very good. I did buy like some of that 3rd trimester tea, but like, I don't know if that's supposed to like help expedite the process or what it's supposed to do. But other than that, I guess the answer is no, I haven't really done much in that department. If you have something though, if you have something, be a good friend and drop it in the comments. Something that you do to prepare for labor, something that has helped you in the past, like significantly. Don't gatekeep that, like for sure. Let me know and let us know. Next question is, how do you deal with water breaking at home in terms of cleaning? Again, I've never had that experience. So any of you guys want to chime in, feel free, but I have never had the experience of like, I'm just living my life, washing dishes, and then all of a sudden there's like a gush, a puddle of water on the floor, like in the movies. That's why, like with Riley, I didn't know if my water had broken because it wasn't like a gush of water just there. Like, I just had kind of like a slow mini leak in my underwear, and then come to find later that that was like my water being broken. But I'm pretty confident that if your water breaks, like, you have time to clean the floor. Like, you probably don't want to spend like 3 hours cleaning your floor, especially if it's not your first kid. But I think that you can, like, you know, put down some paper towels, clean it, and if clean that like you would any other spill, and then make your way to the hospital. Are you doing food prep after baby girl? That's something that I still want to do. I just haven't had a chance to do it. I haven't prioritized it, but ideally I would still have some time to do that. Are there any new things going in your hospital bag? You know, the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that's new that I don't think I've put in there before, it sounds super silly and ridiculous, but I think I'm gonna put compression socks in my hospital bag, because for me, I don't usually swell a ton like during pregnancy. Like right now, I wouldn't say that my ankles are like huge and swollen, but for me, what usually happens is as soon as I deliver, my ankles look like elephant like feet. Like, I get huge, like my ankles get super swollen. So I'm hoping that maybe that will help a little bit, but I can't think of anything else like super mind-blowing that I'm gonna put in there. What happened to all your freezer milk stash? Will you be breastfeeding again? So my freezer milk stash is literally still in the freezer. I know that I can't use that anymore. I think maybe can't you still use it like as like to bathe kids, like to put it on their, like, you know, to use it as something like soothing in the bath. Like you could do a milk bath probably with that. If I can still do that, I'll have to like look it up and see if it's still fine to do that. Then maybe I'll use it for that. I do still want to get at some point in my life a breast milk ring made. Like they sell jewelry. Like if you send them your breast milk, they can make you a piece of jewelry that has the breast milk inside. So I want to save at least a little bit of it for that reason. But my milk stash, thankfully, like I never really had to use. And then to answer, will you be breastfeeding again? God willing, I will be breastfeeding. Like that's what I'm hoping for. But you never know. You can really just like plan your whole postpartum existence and experience and have this grand birth plan, and then things happen, things take a turn, or your baby doesn't respond well to a certain thing. So you really do have to like go into all of this just knowing like it may be how I planned it, may not work out that way. I think that's what saves you from just like a lot of disappointment and a lot of just frustration. Every single birth will be different, and every single postpartum experience will be different. Is Joe taking any time off of work? He is, and right now the plan is that he'll get some paternity leave similar to what he got this past time. With Sean, he got 3 months of paternity leave. We're hoping that is still the case. I know he gets something. I just don't know if like his employer lets him like, hey, 2 years ago I took 3 months off, like now again we're popping out another kid, like another 3 months off. But I will be grateful for any time he's able to take off, so we'll see. But right now, at least for sure, initially he'll have some time off, and then we'll see just like how long that goes. But as soon as I know definitively, I will share and I will let you guys know, but I'm not 100% sure just yet. This person said that they're due with their second in September. Tips on going from 1 to 2. I want to say I have a video on that. Maybe if I can find it, I'll link it down below. But my biggest tip when it came to that, I think, was being able to wear the newborn. Like put the newborn, like find the best baby wrap or baby carrier and just get used to the baby living in that carrier so that you can still do everything else you need to do with your toddler. Then beyond that, I think it was very important for me to learn how to do things even with the kids around, because when you had just one kid, like you always could kind of like count on the fact like, okay, this baby's gonna nap at some point, or this child is gonna nap, and then I can just like not be needed and go wash dishes, do laundry, attend to other tasks in the house, like on your own by yourself, in peace, in quiet. Like what was life back then? Like I can't even remember. But when you have two, it becomes a lot harder to do that, because to like time nap so that both of them are napping, like you can't really count on that all the time. You're just entering this season of life where like if one of them is fine and content, the other one is probably not. If one of them isn't crying, the other one probably is. If one of them doesn't want a snack, the other one does want a snack. And they're gonna start fighting. Like it's gonna be just a fun time for you. But all of that to say, like if you can learn to get stuff done around the house when there are children around, like getting creative. If you're gonna clean your bathroom, like learning to like put the kids like in the bathtub with some toys so that you can like tidy the counter, like that kind of just trying to figure out how can I get this done even if they're not asleep. That was very helpful to like my mental state, because otherwise I would have always felt like I don't have time to do anything. I just can't get anything done. But that's one of the biggest things that I remember like having a hard time with, going from 1 kid to 2 kids to the point that I have like 3 now, and I still haven't completely figured it out. I do think I'm in a much better headspace than I was like the first time going from 1 to multiple. So it just takes time to like get back into your flow and your routine. I'll see if I can link to that video, because I'm pretty sure I did something like that. How were your afterbirth contractions? With baby 3, mine was rough. Good luck with number 4. Well, thanks, number 1. I had forgotten that you do have afterbirth contractions until very recently that somebody else reminded me. I don't remember them being that bad, like not to the point where I was like dying. For me, what always sucks so bad is when they push down on your uterus after birth. I guess they have to do that, but like why? It is so painful when they do that. But I have heard that with the afterbirth contractions, like they get worse the like higher number of kids that you have, like the more kids you have. But with all of my labors, I do remember like if they offered me Advil or Tylenol or whatever pain meds they would offer me, I would take them, because like yes, I was in pain and like very uncomfy. So I forget what it is that they offer you in the hospital. I think it's like alternating Motrin and Tylenol. I take it and I think that helps. and I will keep taking it this time around because, again, zero pain tolerance. Try for an induction again or spontaneous labor. So that's something that I've actually had to think about because I'm sure that I'm going to be presented with that question again this time unless I just happen to go like spontaneously, like semi-early. When I was pregnant with Sean, I think if I'm not mistaken, again, it's been a while and things get blurry, but I was like already beyond 40 weeks and my doctor had basically told me like all the reasons why you don't want to go beyond 40 weeks, like had pretty much scared me and had said like it's riskier if you go beyond 40 weeks and like all the statistics and all the research. That's kind of the reason why I was like, okay, if that's the case, just put me on the induction schedule. Like I don't want things to get riskier, like make it less risky for me. Then I ended up getting like bumped because it was an elective induction. It wasn't like actually super needed, but then I was panicking because I'm like, you just told me it would be riskier. More days that went by and now I'm here waiting, like get this baby out of me. So I think all of that is just gonna depend on like how far I go. At some point I may have to make a decision, and I've always had like a good experience with inductions. Like for me, like that has been the way to go. I've always gotten Pitocin. When I've been induced, I haven't responded super negatively towards Pitocin. Both Sean and Jackson, those births were super smooth. They were fine. There wasn't anything like wrong with them or they didn't need to stay for observation. Like things went smoothly in those births. Can I guarantee that it'll happen this time around? I don't know. But it's always been very, like since I am an anxious person and since I don't do well with a lot of the unknowns, the induction process is actually like really nice because they call you, they're like, your room is ready, make your way down to the hospital, and then you just like stroll in there and it's like walking into a hotel room. They're like, go ahead, put on your gown, we'll get started soon. Very chill vibes, and like I have always done really well with that. I think though, like if I had the choice, if I had the option, I would love to just experience it once at least, like the spontaneous, like, oh my gosh, my water just broke and I need to go to the hospital now because I've never experienced that before. So we will see. I would prefer that that happens more like around maybe 39, 40 weeks, but I'm gonna have to play that by ear and just see how things go. Are you gonna do a labor and delivery vlog and a first day in the hospital vlog? I will film those for sure because they're my favorite videos that I have of my kids and just moments in their lives. Regardless of how you feel about them, regardless of how, whatever, some people like them, some people don't, some people think they're cringy, some people don't, whatever, I'm still gonna film them because they are super special to me and like I wanna remember those moments. Plus I do think that they can be helpful if you've never seen something like that and you wanna know what to expect in the hospital. I think that there's a part of it that can be like very educational. So that's the plan. Again, will it happen? We don't know, depending on the situation. Will I have time to pull out the camera? Will Joe be too frazzled to film? Like, it's a lot of moving parts. They are also some of the harder videos to film, but hopefully I'll at least get something and some footage and some videos that I can put together and have some kind of vlog from like the hospital. Okay, I have a few more questions, but my camera is literally about to die. Sean is still sleeping, thank the Lord, but my camera is about to die. Next question says, do you have boundaries in place with having a newborn? If so, how do you go about that without hurting anyone's feelings? So I don't think I have boundaries that I can think of in terms of like, I don't, again, when you think of boundaries, newborn, I think it can be very easy to think of like a mother-in-law situation or like lots of extended family. Doesn't quite understand your thoughts. Number one, you know, again, rest your soul, like my mother-in-law is no longer here. So I don't have that dynamic at play here. And on top of that, my family is very like respectful. I tell them what I need, what I don't need, and they listen. I don't have really like a pushy in-law situation or a pushy mother situation. My mom is like, if you need me, you tell me what you need and I am there. If you want alone time, if you don't want me going, if you want to just be with Joe, you tell me. And like, I know that I'm not going to hurt her feelings, which is very helpful. I think the only boundary that I would have in place is just like, hey, if you're sick, like don't be around the baby. That would be really the only boundary. We really, for the most part, don't do a lot of the being in the hospital with like a lot of guests. I think for the most part, like I kind of have given the vibe before, like just wait till I get home and then like you can come see the baby, like for friends and like extended, you know, people. But I do think it really sucks that like we have to worry about that as moms. Like I think that we shouldn't have to be worrying about like, am I gonna hurt somebody's feelings when I've just given birth and I have a new child and I'm healing and I'm recovering. Like, really should be just what is gonna make you the most comfortable. And some people are comfortable with like all kinds of different things, right? But if you like literally don't wanna see any person's face in the hospital, then you should literally not have to see any person's face in the hospital, because like you need to worry about yourself and your child. So like I'm not in the business of not hurting people's feelings, especially when I've, you know, just given birth. I think that the priority should be on you, on your mental health, on your physical health, on the baby. Maybe to a certain extent, like your husband's feelings, but even your husband, like your husband did not just like push out a child. So I do think that for the most part, you get to make decisions here, but I know that's easier said than done. And then maybe some people do get their feelings hurt, but I think that people should be grown up enough to know that this is not about them, that it's about the person having the child. Is there anything new that you're interested in doing this time versus before? Will you let the kids come see you in the hospital or just wait until you're home? I hope that the kids will get to come see me in the hospital because, you know, I don't like to go that long without seeing them. And I think that there's something special about having the kids in the hospital and like seeing their new sibling. So I've always enjoyed that experience of like anticipating them coming, you know, to the hospital and with my mom, and like just that first meeting is like very sweet and near to my heart. So I hope so. But is there anything new? I think I've kind of covered that. Like I would maybe be into like there's just a spontaneous labor situation. I've heard a lot of people talk about the placenta encapsulation. I think it may be too late for me to do that, but that was something that kind of like I was a little interested in this time around. I just like didn't get around to it, that I've never done with the other kids. But I just want like a smooth process. Like that's all that I can pray for. I can just pray that baby girl comes out healthy and strong. I don't wish the NICU on anybody because I had to deal with that with Riley, and that was the worst experience of my life. I know that I don't have control over that, and so if that happens, then I have to trust that God has, you know, put that in my path for a reason. But I don't have like any specific thing that I can think of. So what will you do for birth control / family planning postpartum? I did a whole video on this, so I'm gonna refer you to that video. Short version of that very long answer that I had in that video is the first 6 weeks you can't have sex anyway. So you're recovering, so there's no chance of getting pregnant. I typically do not get my cycle back for a year. That's been my experience with the other kids. I know it could be different with this one, but I usually don't get my cycle back for a year, which means that I am not fertile for a year. So usually that has to do with the fact that I'm nursing and that my kids don't sleep through the night, so they're nursing all the time, which also is not ideal. But this time around, I'm gonna look into the Marquette method of natural family planning, and I'm gonna do that like right away. So I'll obviously give myself a couple weeks just to like kind of return to normal, but before those 6 weeks are up, I'm gonna be learning the Marquette method, reaching out to an instructor. That way from, you know, ideally like the minute that Joe and I start being intimate again, I have something that I'm tracking, have some data points that I'm referring to. I've never used the Marquette method before, but I know that for those of us who practice natural family planning, Marquette is one of the methods that people like to use the most in postpartum. I do know that it involves like the clear blue like ovulation reader situation, piano stick, and importing some data. Basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna give me a protocol to follow where it's like, if you're between day this and day this, you do not have sex if you do not want to get pregnant, if you don't want to risk getting pregnant. Like that's the idea behind natural family planning. Abstaining from sex anytime that you have the likelihood of being pregnant. So there will be certain days in the month where Joe and I can't have sexy time if we don't want to risk getting pregnant. In doing that, we'll likely be super conservative because again, I probably won't have my cycle back even for a year. But that's really the only kind of birth control that we are allowed to participate in as Catholics. So that's the plan right now. And as soon as I learn more about it, don't you worry, I'm sure I will put out some info and share my experience with it. But I've never had to do that in the postpartum phase. So this is gonna be all new to me and hopefully it'll work. Okay, so somebody asked, what do you think about C-sections? I don't have any like strong opinion about C-section. You have a vaginal birth, you deliver via C-section, like you're still a mother. It's still amazing that you carried life. I don't think there's any stigma associated with it. I just have heard that the recovery process is harder. So like if I can avoid having to go through that, I would prefer not to. I would prefer to like not have to go under like anesthesia. They cut open things. Like I would not want to have to do that, but I think it's amazing if you have one. One of my girlfriends, I think this is her like 4th or 5th C-section, and like she's just always a C-section candidate for whatever reason. But I think that that has to be so hard, just physically, mentally. So yeah, that's really the only thoughts that I have on that. How will homeschool go once you have a newborn and are recovering? So again, thankfully, I think it worked out nicely, the timing of this, because this is really like summertime. Baby is due in June, so this is gonna be like the time where we don't do like super heavy homeschooling anyway. We kind of take it much more relaxed style than even throughout the year. So I don't have to, if I don't want to, like stress out myself, stress out the kids, but I do have things in place for them to do casually, and as I feel up to it, I'll start just doing some like really small lessons with the kids. But I am hoping that Joe will help me a lot in the summer while he's on paternity leave. And that's why like I've set up certain things that he's gonna do with the kids. Like I think I've told you guys before, he's gonna do a little space camp intensive with them, and like I'm setting up lesson plans for them to be able to do space camp. Basically like a unit study on all things space, because it's something that the kids like and Joe likes. I'm also gonna have them working on the national parks and some of the states. So there's still gonna be plenty of learning happening. It's just gonna be more relaxed, and it worked out well that it's in the summertime. And if I'm still not feeling up to it, you know, come August, September, like we can still ease our way into homeschooling, and that's fine. And I can acknowledge that we're in a hard season, you know, schooling with now then a newborn and a toddler. It's gonna be different. It's likely gonna be a little bit difficult, but we will make it work. And I'm pretty confident that everyone's gonna be okay. I got a lot of questions here and on Instagram, just on like how to boost your milk supply, a lot of questions about nursing. I don't have a ton of experience. I feel like that should be a separate video anyway. The one thing I just want to tell you guys is it's very easy, because I've experienced the same thing. It's very easy to get down on yourself if you have a low milk supply. Like I think with Sean, or no, with Jackson, I had a low milk supply. I was very stressed out. I was like, I'm not producing anything. I suck as a mother. My tatas are not giving me anything. Like it was like very psychologically like just not good, because like I equated my worth as a mom with like how many ounces I had of milk, or like I would hide my bottles. I didn't want anybody to see like how little milk I would get. So like that's not the vibe, like that's not it. How much milk you produce does not equate to like how good of a mother you are. If you make a ton of milk and you can get 8 ounces of milk every time you pump, like that doesn't make you a better mother than somebody that pumps like a couple ounces or half an ounce or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Like I think it's good to want to increase your milk production if you're trying to nurse or whatever, but don't let that be number one, your identity, and don't let that also like get you down if you know you're not producing tons and tons of milk, because they have nothing to do with each other. It's literally just your body. So don't like super over obsess about that, especially if you're a first time mom and you've never been through it before. Okay, then last question is, what are the age differences of all your kids? Which age gap was the hardest? So they're saying that they had 2 under 2 and they wouldn't want to do it again. So with Jackson and with Riley, they were almost exactly 2 years apart. That was a rough age gap. The 2 under 2, I agree, it's really hard, but they're literally like a week, like almost exactly 2 years apart. With Jackson and with Sean, we waited a little bit longer. There was like a bigger gap there. So I think Jackson was 3.5 when Sean was born. So that age gap for me was way easier than the 2-year age difference. Like I think 3 years, 3.5 makes a huge difference. This time around, Sean and the baby will be, again, almost 2 years apart, because Sean's birthday is in August and the baby's due in June. So like 2 months shy of being 2 years apart. So I know it's gonna be a little rough, but again, this was a gift from the Lord, and he knows what he's doing, and he is obviously trying to make me both crazy and stronger at the same time. But yes, if you are planning, if you are trying to make decisions, 2 under 2 is very difficult. I liked the 3.5 year age difference. I felt like Jackson was much more independent. Not that I had to like neglect him, or I didn't have to take care of him, but they're in a much different stage at 3.5 than at 2. There's not as much of that crazy chaotic running away from you, climbing on tables, like trying to talk. You don't understand them. It just makes a difference. It's still, you know, beautiful in its own crazy, chaotic way. But anyway, my camera is officially about to die. It's blinking at me and I have like seconds left. So I hope you guys enjoyed chatting with me. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to know. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. I love your faces. Thanks for hanging with me today. I will keep filming for a while until this baby comes. So if there's any requests you have, let me know. And that's it. I love you so, so much. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.